So the squad's been named for Euro 2012. Just talk us through the process that you've been through the last few days.
Well, it's been a very agonising process. It's never easy, of course, when there's so many quality players to discuss and think about, to finalise the squad. But I'm really pleased with the squad that we've put together now. I think it's well balanced. I think it's very interesting. I think that a lot of the players who are in the squad are people, of course, who have really helped England to get to this stage and to reach these finals. So I'm more than happy to announce this squad, and I believe in the squad. I have great faith in it. I think it will be a group of players who will really do England proud at the tournament.
How did you go about it? Did you speak to each player individually, or did you meet some of the players?
Well, I've not been able to meet too many because of my time commitments, of course. If I'd maybe had a lot of time on my hands, I could have done that, but that wasn't the case with juggling the job with West Bromwich Albion until the last game of the season. My chances to meet people personally were very limited. I did have the chance yesterday to go to Chelsea because they're in training this week and meet the Chelsea players. I did have a chance to meet Wayne Rooney on a day off from Birmingham last week. But most of the players, in fact almost all of the players I've spoken to on the telephone. I've spoken in particular to all the players who are experienced in the team, and I've also spoken hopefully with all of the players of importance that I've not been able to include this time, and to let them know personally for me why that they weren't selected.
The two new names in the squad are Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and John Ruddy. Obviously they've impressed you over the season.
Well, he's had a fantastic season as a goalkeeper, first season at Norwich, and he's had a lot of work to do there. Norwich have had a fine season, and he's been very good and very much a part of it, so it was nice to be able to include him in the squad. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think he's well documented as a player who's burst onto the scene. He has exceptional qualities, of course. He's a very, very interesting type of midfield player who can play wide or central, and he has a lot of qualities, of course, that not so many other players in our midfield area possess in the team. And I think it's good that I've included him. I think it's going to be very beneficial to the squad and to the team and to the player himself, of course, because at his age he's a player that we're going to be hoping to see a lot of, not only during this tournament but also in the future.
One notable absentee is Rio Ferdinand. What was the thinking behind that one?
Well, that was a difficult decision because I've got great respect for Rio, both as a player and as a person, and of course for everything he's achieved in football. But in the last year or so he hasn't really played that many games for England, so being faithful, I suppose, to my thoughts that the players that have really played a large part in helping England qualify, it meant that I passed him over on this occasion and stuck with people like Cahill and Lescott and John Terry, and of course Phil Jones is added to that list because he balances the back players out a little bit, or balances the back players out in a good way for us, because he's also capable of playing at right back or capable of playing in the midfield, and his ability to play right back was very important because we lost Kyle Walker to injury.
Away from the playing side, the last couple of weeks you've also made the additions to the backroom team. You must be pleased with the collection of people you've got there.
Yeah, I'm delighted. I mean, the FA have been very good in, really trying to help me, if you like, put together the team that I wanted. From the offset, I've got to say, Ray Lewington and Gary Neville were very high on my list of people that really suited the profile, if you like, of the people I wanted around me. We've been fortunate then to have a goalkeeping coach, which a person who's well known to the FA, who's worked for the FA before with other teams, and in particular, and perhaps even more importantly, has worked with Joe Hart during Joe Hart's time at Birmingham, and is a goalkeeper coach alongside Ray Clements that Joe Hart is very pleased to work with again. That obviously had an influence on my decision. The same applies to the fitness coach, Chris Neville, comes very highly recommended from Michael Apperton and all at Portsmouth and from his previous work with the FA. And I'm also pleased to be able to say that Liverpool have released Andy Scolding, a video technician, a man who sort of well versed in video analysis, who worked with me both at Fulham and Liverpool, and he'll be able to help Stephen O'Brien for our tactical videos post and pre-match.
Aside from that, there's a few changes to the original itinerary that we had before the tournament. What's happening now with that?
Basically forced upon us to some extent, because when that tournament was originally planned, we had no idea, or the people who planned it, Stewart, who was doing the work for the FA at the time, he had no idea, of course, about Chelsea's Champions League final. He had no idea about Green and the playoff final. And he had no idea either that Man City were going to win a championship in such incredible style, and then spend 3 days basically celebrating it with all the events which have been hastily put together afterwards. So we found ourselves with a group of players who could have gone to La Cala, which was a lot smaller than the original 23 that we were planning to take, and then we found ourselves trying to add to those numbers just to make the journey worthwhile. And in the course of those discussions, we then asked ourselves, well, if it's going to be really a question of working basically with a large number of under 21 players rather than with the squad that's going to be involved in the Euros, why don't we wait until the Wednesday and transfer, if you like, the camp back to England, which of course suits us in many ways, because we can now base ourselves up in Manchester. We can use the Etihad Stadium. A lot of the players are from the northwest, and also it shortens the journey to Oslo, which is a further benefit. So there were so many benefits, and I'm grateful really that the FA were 100% behind that decision.
And the final one on the squad for me is there any thoughts on the captain at all at the moment?
Yeah, I'm pleased to announce that'll be Steven Gerrard. I mean, Steven, I think, is a man with his 90 caps who has more than proved his worth, both as a football player for England and as a captain, both for England and for Liverpool. I also, of course, know Steven well as a person and as a player and a captain from my time at Liverpool. So I've got to be honest and say I had no hesitation in naming him captain, but I didn't inform him until last night. I did have a conversation with him earlier than that, but I didn't actually inform him until yesterday afternoon, and I'd perhaps forgotten that I'd not informed him of my decision in our original conversation, so I took him by surprise yesterday, and he was really pleased to be awarded the captaincy, and I'm sure that in Steven we'll find a man who will not only lead by example. I think he'll be a very important person as a captain around the other players in the squad, to make certain that we get the team unity, to make certain that we get the togetherness, and to make certain that we get the environment that I'm really looking for, which hopefully will give the chance for the players to produce their best form when they go out on the field to play.